Didn't get one. Chocolate. Isaiah 64 verse 8, but now, O Lord, you are our Father, we are the clay, and you are our potter, and we are all the work of his hand. He is our maker, our creator, and he loves you. So today is all you need is love, loving because we are loved, because he first loved us. If you've ever felt not good enough or compared yourself to someone else, this verse from Isaiah invites us to remember we are God's workmanship. So you must never say that you're not good enough, because he created you. He created us all differently. He created our personalities. He gave us souls. And you are good enough. You are more than good enough. You are the workmanship of God. You must not say, I'm not good enough. We have to start the process, the love process, by first receiving this love from our Maker, because we can't give from an empty tank. God deposits love into our account so that we can give it out to others, so we can show the love of God to others. We've got a slide, 1 John 4, verses 9 to 10. This is how God showed his love among us. He sent his one and only Son into the world that we might live through him. This is love. Not that we loved God, but that he loved us and sent his Son as an atoning sacrifice for our sins. You might think, and I did when I first became a Christian, I thought I'd chosen God. I thought I had chosen to become a Christian. I thought I had chosen to follow God. I thought I had chosen to invite Jesus into my heart. I was about 7 at the time, and my granny used to nag me every week to become a Christian and to let Jesus into my heart, and I used to say no a lot. And then when I said yes, I thought, aren't I a good little girl? I've said, yes, I'm a Christian. I've said, yes, Jesus, you can come and live in my heart. Rubbish. He chose me. I didn't choose him first. He chose me first. He chose you. He loves you. He showed his love by sending us his only Son into the world. And since I've had sons, I often say, to be honest, I don't think I could have done it. I don't think I could have sent one of my sons for a sinful, ugly, hate-filled world. I don't know how he did it. It is only his love. His love, his love, his love for us, that he would send his perfect Son. I don't know how he did it. I don't think I could do it, but it shows how much he loves us. We need to understand his immense love for us and then pass it on to others. How do you feel the love of God? Just take a moment in your own mind just to think, how do you feel the love of God? How do you feel loved by God? We need to hang on to these moments of understanding and the feeling and the truth of how do you feel loved by God. How do you feel love in general? How do you feel love from your loved ones, from your spouse, from your children, from your parents, from your friends? How do you feel love? There's a well-known book called The 5 Love Languages. The 5 love languages are words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. And this book, The 5 Love Languages, was mainly written for couples. But I think we can all learn a lot about our love languages and the love languages of others. Because we often try to love each other in the way that we feel loved. So that little gift on the door from me this morning might give you a hint about what my love language is. Not just chocolate, I mean, yeah, basically chocolate, but that's not in there, so it has to go in gifts. So I'll let you know a little bit about what each one is. Words of affirmation. So people with this love language, they value verbal acknowledgements of affection, compliments, words of appreciation, being told I love you, verbal encouragement, and frequent digital communication like texting and social media engagement. Acts of service. If your love language is acts of service, you value when someone goes out of their way to make your life easier. It's things like doing the washing up without being asked, putting a load of washing on. Oh, sorry, I forgot. I just wasn't just talking to Anthony, sorry. Making you tea. Oh, no, that's Anthony as well. Making you coffee in the morning. Just doing stuff without being asked. Just doing stuff for people. This is the love language for people who believe that actions speak louder than words. I remember an old Don Francisco song. Anyone remember him? My dad used to listen to Don Francisco. There was a song, love is not a feeling, it's an act of the will. It's a choice to love people. And acts of service really wraps that one up. It's the choice for doing things for people. Unlike those people who prefer to hear how much they're cared for, people on this list like to be shown they're appreciated. Doing things to make their life easier or more comfortable is highly cherished by these people. Gifts, that's me. Gifts is a pretty straightforward love language. You feel loved when people give you visual symbols of love. It's not about the monetary value, but it's the symbolic thought behind the item. People with this style recognise and value the gift-giving process, the careful reflection and the deliberate choosing of an object, and the emotional benefits from receiving the present. It's knowing that someone's thinking of you when they're not with you, and they might, just get you a little something, like a little heart chocolate. Quality time. People with this love language feel the most adored when others actively want to spend time with them. And they love when they're listened to, when they receive eye contact, and they have the full presence of the other person, and they're not on their phone when they're talking to them. This is about giving undivided attention without the distraction of television and phones or any outside interference. These people have a strong desire to actively spend time with others and have meaningful conversations and share recreational activities. Physical touch. People who communicate their appreciation through this language when they consent. This is about feeling appreciated when you're hugged, kissed, cuddled. They value the feeling of warmth and comfort that comes from physical touch. I do like a hug as well, don't I? So probably a bit of that one. You can be more than one. It's really good to know your own love language. It's good to be able to let others know your love language. It's good to know how you receive love. It's good to understand why you don't feel loved by a hug, or you don't feel loved by something, someone putting out the rubbish. It's really good to understand how we're loved, and it also helps us to understand how to give loves to others. So I thought we'd do a little quiz, and you can find out your love language. Would that be okay? So you can either use your phones to tap your answers, or there are some bits of paper and pen around if you want to do those. So basically it's a series of questions. Try to adapt them so they're not quite so coupley. It's a series of questions, and I'm going to give you two options for each question. And then I'm going to tell you what letter to write down. So, not practice one. So the first one, number one, you're thinking about what is more meaningful to you? What shows love to you? So do you feel love when you receive a loving note or a text or an email for no special reason? Or do you feel love when you have a hug? So if it's the first one, you need to put A. So if you feel love by getting a note, a text, an email, then I want you to put A for number one. If it's when you have a hug, I want you to put E for number one. E is a hug. A is a note or a text. You have to. It will just choose one. There'll be more options further down the line. Okay. Just want it all, Jan, don't you? You can have more than one love language. No, because C is like a totally different love language. You know, so at the end we'll see how many A's have you got, how many B's have you got, and then, that'll tot up. Right, number 2. If you like spending alone time with just one other person, I want you to put B. If you like it when someone does something practical to help you out, I want you to write D. So if you like just alone time with one person, that's a bit of an oxymoron, isn't it? But anyway, that's B. And if you like it when someone does something practical to help you, put D. Okay? Moving on. Number 3. Do you like it when someone gives you a token of love for you? Put C. Or if you like spending uninterrupted leisure time with somebody, put B. A gift. A token of love. I was trying to think of something funny to say, but it didn't work. So if you like having a little gift as a token of our love together, Anthony, put C. If you like spending uninterrupted leisure time with me, put B. Just make sure it's the right one. Is that what you said, Sheena? Number 4. Do you like it when someone does something unexpected for you, like doing the washing up, filling up your car? Put D. Or do you like it when you receive touch? Put E. There you go, see? It's fine. Number 5. Do you like it when someone puts their arm around you to comfort you? Put E. If you like it when they surprise you with a gift, put C. It's a bit of a theme here, isn't it? I mean, it's not the most difficult test in the world. 6. Put B. If you like to be around someone but not really even doing much, but just being together. Or E. Do you like holding hands? Just being with other people but not really doing anything. That letter is B. What? You want all of them? 7, do you like it when someone gives you a gift? Is C. Do you like it when someone tells you they love you? Is A. It's all right. C, my loved one gives me a gift. Or A, someone tells you that they love you. 8, do you like sitting close with people? Is E. Or do you like receiving compliments? Is A. Do you like it when you hear people say that I'm proud of you? Or do you like it, that's A. Or do you like it when someone helps you with a task? That's D. Next one, do you like doing things with other people? Is B. Or do you like to hear encouraging words from others? Is A. Doing things together, B. Encouraging words, A. Okay, number 12. Do you like people doing things for you instead of just talking about doing things? Oh, sorry, that's because I skipped one because I'm getting a bit repetitive. Do you like it when people do nice things for you instead of just talking about doing nice things? Is D. Or E, do you love a good hug? Next one, I like to be encouraged, is A. I like to have a gift that shows that someone's really thinking about me, is C. Next one, B, if you just like being around other people, or E, if you like a back rub. Oh, that hits some. Well, I know what Ted is. That was letter B, Ted. No, sorry, E, Ted. E. Back rub is an E, Ted. You haven't got E. You haven't got an E on your keyboard. Right, next one. A, if someone reacts positively to something that you've accomplished. Or D, if they do something for you that they know they don't really like doing. A, they positively react to something that you've done or that you've accomplished. D, if they do something for you that you know they don't particularly enjoy doing. Should we stop there? Right, okay, so add up what you've got the most of. The results will be on the screen. So everybody ready? Everyone know what their most popular answer is? Balanced. Okay, so here are the results. If you answered mostly A, your love language is words of affirmation. Anyone got that one? Interesting. Okay, nice little balance there. No pressure, Patrick. Exactly. Right. If you have mostly B's, your love language is quality time. Have we got any time, people? Yes. Interesting. Cool. Mostly C's, your love language is receiving gifts. Yeah, that's all right. D's, if you have mostly D's, your love language is acts of service. Yeah, okay. And mostly E's, your love language is physical touch. Yeah, real spread. Huggers. I think one of the most important things that I learned about this when we were doing this as a couple was you can't necessarily show love in the way that you feel loved. So by me getting, a present for Ant is meaningless, really. You got 0 for gifts, I was going to say, yeah. Yeah, so if your friend or significant other brings you a chocolate heart, it's not going to mean anything. And then you're going to kind of come up with this resistance of, well, I really love them and they just don't seem loved. It's really important to find out how your significant other, your child, your friends, your parents feel loved and aim to love them in that way. What one did you come out with this time, Anthony? It's a different one each year. Keeps me on my toes. Oh, no. Acts of service. Have I got to take the bin out? Anthony's do change. No, it's been acts of service for a while now, hasn't it? Yeah. But they do change. They do develop in different seasons of our lives. There might be a couple that are top of the list. But I would encourage you to find out how other people feel loved and love them in those ways. But do you know the other really interesting thing that just crossed my mind, you've probably noticed it already, is God loves us in all these ways. God affirms us. He calls you his child. You are crowned with glory and you are precious. He carries out acts of service for us. The cross. What the ultimate act of service. I mean, talk about taking the bins out, but the cross, What an act of service. Gifts, 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 gifts. He gives us so many good gifts. He gives us the gift of salvation. He gives us gifts of faith, gifts of healing, gifts of understanding His word, gifts of love and joy and peace and patience and kindness and self-control. He gives us gifts. Every good thing comes from Him. Quality time. He is always with us to the very end of the age. He is always with us. He's always ready to listen, and He's always ready to speak to you and be with you. He's always ready to give you quality time. Physical touch I found a little bit harder to put into words because we know Jesus isn't with us physically at the moment, but He was. He did come to this earth. He walked on this earth. Jesus came to this earth. He came to this earthly realm. He spent time with people. He made friends with people. He came in human form. He could have just come and gone and done his job in a day or two. Come and died, had the sacrifice, raised from the dead, gone home. But He didn't. He came and He was with people. I'm sure He hugged people. I'm sure He put His hands on. We know He put His hands on people. He healed the sick. Luke 4:40, laying hands on the sick. We read that He gave physical touch to others. So earlier on we looked at John 4 verses 9 to 10, which told us, what did it tell us? That God sent His one and only Son into the world that we may live through Him. This is His love, not that we loved God, but He's loved us and sent His Son. And after verse 10 comes verse 11. Thank you, Kathy. Verse 11. Can we see verse 11? Dear friends, since God so loved us, we ought to love one another. Even the people we don't like, we have to love them too. Sorry, Len. Even the people we don't like, that's a whole nother thing, and I haven't really got my head around that, but we are taught to love the ones that we don't like. No one has ever seen God, but if we love one another, God lives in us, and His love is made complete in us. What a promise. What a promise. If we love one another, God will live in us, and His love is made complete in us. So how do we do all this? How are we going to do all this? Especially how are we going to love the ones we don't like? Ephesians 3 verse 17 I think gives part of the answer. It says, may your roots go deep. I think there might be a slide. So Christ will make His home in your hearts. As you trust in Him, your roots will grow down into God's love and keep you strong. We have to be rooted in His love for us to love anybody else. And Christ will make His home in us. What another wonderful promise. Christ will make His home in your heart. And He does that when we trust Him. That's the key. Trust in Him and He will make His home in your heart. What a promise. This verse came up time and time again recently. God gave me this verse for Anthony's sister's wedding. It's also come up on social media recently, and also a drawing that I was given as well. Is there the picture? Yeah. It's a beautiful drawing I was given, and it just reminds me, and I've got it above my desk at home, that my roots go deep into God, and I love people out of that, and it's God's love. I don't have to actually kind of G it up and make myself love people. It's because my roots are nourished in the soil of the love of God. So yeah, it's a really powerful, I love that. I just love the powerful imagery of that, the really full tree that's really nourished because it's so full. And the land that's plentiful and full of flowers and nourished, and that soil that is creating all of that nourishment is our roots in God. Okay, so we obviously see love. I can't talk about love without talking about 1 Corinthians 13, where we see love at its greatest. This chapter comes around 2/3 of the way into the book of 1 Corinthians. And it feels a bit like a time out, a bit of a pause, a bit of a breather. Paul has spent most of this letter to the Corinthians dealing with division in the church, correcting false teaching around marriage and food and worship and communion. So it's been quite a heavy book up until this point. And then he just stops. And he says, "And now I will show you the most excellent way." Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. Remember, this is because we're rooted in God. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. I was challenged to try and put my name instead of the word love in this passage. Emily is patient. Emily is kind. No, I didn't get very far. The only name we can put there is the name of Jesus. Let's read it together, but say Jesus instead of love. Jesus is patient. Jesus is kind. Jesus does not envy. He does not boast. He is not proud. He does not dishonor others. He is not self-seeking. He is not easily angered, and he keeps no record of wrongs. Jesus does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. He always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Jesus never fails. This is a love that only Jesus can produce. Oh, I've got goosebumps. The love of God, freely given to us, unconditionally. We are worth it, like Jan brought this morning. We are worthy. It is his love for us. Let it fill you. It is a love worth giving to others. Let him love you. Know that you are lovable. Know that your Maker loves you. Know that you are loved. I have got more, but I'm going to stop there because I want to have some time for ministry. I wonder if the worship team could come. I'm going to invite the worship team to pray. To pray? To play. You can pray, whatever. Because, so this is Psalm 63. Because your love is better than life, my lips will glorify you. My soul will be satisfied with the richest foods. So I want to offer an opportunity now for you to receive his love, whether that's where you're sitting with a friend, whether you'd like to come out the front. I'm going to ask for the cameras to finish now, please, so that we can have time to minister together. An opportunity, if any of the words earlier, whether you'd like some more prayer about the being bound with the ball and chain.